Hey there, I'm Joanna Douglas. I am the founder and chief empowerment officer for Insight, where we talk about all things Enneagram and all things women's leadership. Thank you so much for stopping by. Today, I'm inspired to talk about fear. I know it's a super fun topic to discuss. I was inspired by actually a paperweight, a memento, a gift from a client many years ago, and you probably can't read it, but it says, "What would you attempt to do if you knew you could not fail? What would you attempt to do if you knew you could not fail?" What stops us is fear. And fear is one of the four core basic emotions that every single human experiences. I don't care who you are or how much bravado you bring to the table. Fear is a thing. And the basic four emotions: fear, anger, sadness, and happiness. We are having a human experience. We experience these emotions, whether they are cognizant or not. And we'll talk in a series later about different core emotions that different Enneagram types experience. And some Enneagram types experience fear at a more visceral level than others. But we're all human. We all have the full range of emotions, or at least we think we do, hope we do, whether we acknowledge them or not. And so this is something we all are going to have to deal with. The issue is how we deal with it. Not that we deal with it, maybe that's a part of it, but I think mostly in my experience, it's how we deal with the fear. And I've led enough teams to know that some team members let fear of failure or just fear in general stop them in their tracks. Some lean in the other direction and go full bore into it, fight, flight, or freeze. Think about that natural mammalian experience for experiencing fear. But in Tara Moore's book that I have underlined, tabbed, all those things, in chapter 3, she talks about the construct of fear in two ways, using two words from the Old Testament. I'm working with is Pichad, and my apologies if I pronounce that incorrectly. That's what pronunciation.com said. So there's Pichad and Yirah, Pachad and Yirah. And I love having this new construct to look at fear. And I'm so grateful to her for spending time on this topic because it's two different types. So, Pichad, as I understand it from the book, is fear of losing your job, fear of not getting a promotion, fear of getting the promotion and not being able to do the job properly. That's what we talk a lot about here in terms of fear. It could also be fear of losing a parent or a spouse, or fear for your kids who are backpacking through Europe. Sorry, mom and dad, for all those years of making you experience Pachad when I was out on my adventures. So it's basic human fear: fear of loss, fear of something happening to you. Let's add failure into that. So basic human fears. Yira is a fear that you experience when you step outside your comfort zone, when you, in Tara's book, where you play big and you haven't done that before, when you take up more space than you have ever before, if you're in a new position that is a more visible position than you're accustomed to. Yira can also be fear of God, being in the presence of a higher power, however you choose to experience it. So, Yira is a type of fear when we get bigger, when we are in unfamiliar territory, could also be Pachad, but when we're in unfamiliar territory, but it is the type of fear we need to befriend. Pachad is the type of fear that we can work through in counseling. We can work through in, facing it head on by having a conversation with someone, with discussing it, getting it out loud. That is fear that could be irrational or is not in the presence. That is the type of fear that keeps us small. So I think the importance of distinguishing between a pachad, a fear, natural, but we choose to not take action or to not go for a promotion, to not apply for that job, to not quit your job. All of these things because there is some sort of fear. There is a fear of failure, a fear of loss, some sort of fear that we choose. And we get to choose every day. No judgment on that. We get to choose whether we play big or if we don't. Yirah, on the other hand, is the fear of taking a risk, of playing bigger, of speaking on stage, even though you might be scared to death to do it. It is accessing your calling. What is your soul telling you that you need to do? Is it to level up your leadership skills? Is it to start your own business? Only you can answer that. But I think the challenge with what would you attempt to do if you would not fail? And then also adding a distinguishment between different types of fear. One that is, keeps us small, and one that doesn't. One that allows us to go for it. And yes, we're going to be afraid there, but we do it anyway. What are you fearing that's keeping you small? Sure, you try it, stretch a little bit. Maybe you do fail. Well, as my mother used to say when learning how to ride the bike, get up, quit crying, dust yourself off, get back on the bike. Probably not in today's. It was the 70s, folks. Um, it's get up, get back on, dust the fear, dust the failure off, and learn how to ride a bike. My sister taught me how to drive a car, and she'd say, "Brake, brake." I think she probably had the Pichad fear when I was learning how to drive. I did have a little bit of a lead foot, but think about it. You have overcome some hard things. You just don't get to a certain age without, I mean, you do not get out of childhood unscathed. No one does. You've had some sort of big T or little t trauma, and you've overcome something. If you need to spend some time taking an inventory of what that fear is, and then maybe classify it. Is it Pachad? Did it scare the bejesus out of me? And maybe I went in a different direction because I didn't want to deal with that? Or was it Yirah? And you played big and you jumped anyway. So take some time, hopefully today. Maybe you pause here and collect the things that you're proud of that you've overcome. Those were probably Yirah moments. And the things in your life, the decisions that you've made in your life where you go, gosh, I wish I would have gotten on that plane, missed that bus. I grew up in Oklahoma and was behind Garth Brooks at Oklahoma State University, and he has a song called "Unanswered Prayers." So maybe some of the Pashad or Yira is you're thanking, or in your inventory is thanking God for unanswered prayers, things you didn't do that sent you on a trajectory. Or maybe there's some things that you wish that you did. Again, you don't get to this stage of life without a couple of cuts and bruises. So hopefully you have a quick little list. Maybe it's a big list. Maybe you took some time and meditated on it. But my challenge to all of you is, or you specifically, what would you attempt to do if you knew you could not fail? And get used to Yirah. It's here. It's a basic human emotion. But you can decide to look at fear as Yirah. And it's the fear you feel when you're playing big, when you're taking the risk, when you're going for it. And it's okay. You're human. It's nothing wrong with you. It's nothing else you need to know. It is a comfort level you need to have with fear, and you can do it. I believe in you, and I know you believe in yourself. As you begin to improve your relationship with fear and with Yira, what would you do if you knew you would not fail? I can't wait to find out. And in the meantime, I hope you have a powerful day.